Okay, hi everybody. This is Derek Gales from the iPlanGroup. I am the marketing manager here. Thanks for getting on the call with us today. Just wanted to give it a few minutes after 7 o'clock to let everybody trickle in so that we didn't miss any of the call. Once again, my name is Derek and I'm here from the iPlanGroup. We are here with Derek Walkish of True Life 360, and he's going to present his topic on how to make money in real estate in 30 days with your self-directed IRA. Many of you guys were on our call last week or a week or 2 weeks ago where Derek was here going over kind of a high-level approach to finding your pillars of revenue when it comes to real estate investing. We got a great response from that, and a lot of people really got them motivated to learn a little bit more. So we asked Derek to hop back on here and dive into just a few different few of those property types to give you a little bit more of understanding and also answer any questions you guys might have. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Derek, and he can get started with the presentation. So thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you very much for such a wonderful introduction. Okay, my name is Derek Walkish, and like he said, I am the Marketing Curriculum Director for True Life 360. And the one nice thing about that particular organization is we are a group of investors that actually do the business. We're not gurus. What we do is we share the information that we find along the way. So it ends up being more of a mastermind program, and it keeps everything real. Every single one of our students makes money, and that's because all of us are in the business. So I'm going to go ahead and share some information with you. And just like what Derek had told you, I went ahead and displayed my mind map of my entire business. My entire business, of course, comprises of 8 years of knowledge, so it was probably a little bit high level. I'm a brokerage owner. I'm an investor. I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I've done every type of deal that you can imagine. So of the 100 ways to make, oops, what's this? Let me turn this off. Of the 100 ways to go ahead and make money in real estate, I've probably done at least 50 of those. I haven't really counted, but I've definitely created a reputation as being a problem solver, as being a person that can take any situation and turn it into a way to make money. And I've done it with other students, and they've found their niches. So with that being said, as we're going through this, I want you to go ahead and really think about what your passion is. What are you really good at? And at that point, what you're going to do best is what you really love. So following your passion is really the key to making money and being satisfied. So let's go ahead and dive into the next page of 100 ways to make money. And just as a reminder, obviously some of you people, I know what you're thinking, you're going to want this document, and you absolutely can have it. All you have to do is email the iPlanGroup at invest@iplangroup.com. That's invest@iplangroup.com. And let me give you the phone number. It's 440-484-5566. You could also schedule a strategy session. Anyone on the staff can go ahead and help you to guide your way to utilizing your IRA to doing any of the things that we're going to talk about today. So the fun thing about the IRA is that there's very, very few things that you can't do. The list of things that you have the ability to do definitively is, infinitesimally larger than what you can't do. And that's the real exciting thing. Especially with the down market the way that it is, utilizing your self-directed IRA to go ahead and make investments that you personally can control is really a lot of fun. Every person that's ever worked with me comes back, clamoring. I still get phone calls every day, emails. People stopping at my house. When's the next deal there? When's the next deal? It ends up being an addictive obsession because you know that when you walk down the street that there's opportunity everywhere. It's amazing. Every one of the 100 ways is right in your yard. I guarantee it. If you walk down your cul-de-sac, your street, your city, there is so much opportunity. It's sickening. I don't have enough bodies in our organization to do everything that I want to do. It is a little bit complicated at times, but I'm going to show you the easiest ways to go ahead and make money quickly and effectively. So this document right here, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll through it real quickly. It talks about the major types of properties, some popular investing techniques, careers. I'm not sure who I'm talking to inside this webinar or what your background is, but definitively, if you want to move into the direction of getting your license, being an appraiser, all of those things are available, and they're very lucrative. But for the majority of the people on the call, probably not going to do that, and there's still a ton of opportunity. So let's go ahead and kind of scroll down through here. There's obviously raw land, farming, mineral rights. You can actually own major types of property. You can go ahead, apartments, mobile home parks, and it goes on for the entire section. Then making money using fix and flip, buy and hold, wholesale. Those are the things that I specialize in. And those are things that you don't have to have a license or a lot of money. And quite frankly, you don't have to have a lot of experience to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and really focus on those type of strategies. If you scroll down, of course, there's the different ways to go ahead and utilize marketing. There is the way that you would finance your investments. There's, like I said, this document, I had to sit down and think about everything that would come out, and quite frankly, it's just really touching, just skimming the top of the iceberg. There is a million ways to make money in real estate. And that's what I tell my students. I tell them the best thing about real estate is there's a million ways to make money. Unfortunately, the worst thing about real estate is there's a million ways to make money. So I go back to what I told you from the very beginning, which is follow your passion. Find something that you're good at and focus in on that. So everything that we had talked about is, what has it, like I said, has the ability to utilize your IRA to do everything we're going to talk about. And if you're stuck and you don't understand something, like I said, call the iPlanGroup. We could go ahead and guide you through that. If you want more information, by all means, take a look at my website. I'll go ahead and pull that up for you real quick. That is, that, and down, here we go, True Life 360. Along with calling the iPlanGroup to go ahead and get the document that you're seeing on your screen, you can also download a free ebook that our coaches put together called Naked Real Estate. It'll go ahead and talk about some other techniques that we use to go ahead and make money in real estate. So there's a lot of free stuff. If you go to our YouTube channel, which is right here, if you click on that and you follow us, you'll get more free information. Every Saturday we go ahead and we launch out the Saturday strategy. And if you look at this handsome guy with glasses right here, and maybe that guy over there, that is me. I'm Derek Walkish. And there I am on vacation talking about, right in that particular one, how I made AK going ahead and wholesaling a deal. So if I can do it, you can do it. But most importantly, this information is free. So feel free to follow us. So going back to the webinar here, let's go ahead and focus in on a couple different strategies. I do teach. I have coaching students. And what I'm showing you right now is I have an 8-module course that will teach you everything you need from A to Z. So at this point, you can go ahead and take a look. I'll give you a free sample here on what I tell people in week 1. So let's go ahead and open that up. About now. Okay. What I like to tell people is that you can go ahead and make money through lease options, short sales, free and clears, and REOs. We're going to focus in on bird dogging, which is going ahead and finding deals and giving it to someone else to go ahead and make money. We're also going to talk about wholesale. So there's 2 things that you need to do. There's the understanding that you're going to be the middleman in this. So understanding that there's money to be made as the middleman is key to this process. And the way that you're going to do this is by finding the deal and connecting it to somebody that wants it. I know, sounds like a crazy concept, but trust me when I tell you, there's so many investors out there that don't do a very good job of marketing. So what you can do is provide those deals over to that investor. And it doesn't even have to just be an investor. It could actually be an attorney or a real estate agent. I do it quite frequently. I do, in this particular document, you can see I have a marketing plan where I market to purchase houses. My philosophy is everywhere I go, in a very, very quick 2-second blurb, is I buy houses in any condition, fast, with cash. With that being said, that opens up the can of worms to just a myriad of different types of deals. Like I said, short sale, REOs, probates, free and clears. The vehicle that I utilize to go ahead and accomplish a wholesale is an option contract. So let's go ahead and talk about an option contract real quick. It's a notice of contract. What that does is it gives you an interest in the property. You're not on title, but what you're in effect doing is putting a cloud on title. That property cannot sell unless your notice of contract or option is dealt with. That concept is important to understand. The reason being is because of your interest, you're going to sell it off to somebody else. And I'm going to give you some examples on that. You could do that with a short sale. You do it with a bank-owned property. You could do it with a probate. You do it with a free and clear. If you have an interest in the property, you have to be dealt with. So you're guaranteed that you're not going to get, for lack of a better word, screwed out of the deal or circumvented, because you have to be dealt with. So you can sell your option to someone else for a wholesale fee. So let's go ahead and talk about that. There is an example here. Let's go ahead and pull this one up, where one of my partners went ahead and he had a interest right here. You can see option release. That is an option contract. He had an option to purchase this property in Middleburg Heights. He opted not to do that. Instead, he found a buyer right here, for an example, of 110 to go ahead and purchase that property. The property is probably worth somewhere around 160. It did have some work, but he really didn't want to. I didn't want to really spend the time because it did have a foundational issue. Foundations scare me. Since we had somebody to make some just quick money, turn and burn, let's go ahead and sell that option to someone else. Give them the meat on the bones so then they can go ahead and fix and flip or whatever they're going to do, and let's go ahead and release that option. So what we did is we made the offer over to the cash buyer for 110, and for our interest, he bought it for right there on the HUD-1 for $1,500. So with the title company, what they did is they went ahead and signed an option release. That released our interest and allowed him to go ahead and bypass us to go ahead and make the purchase. Once again, this is a short sale example, but you could also do this with, like I said, probate property if you find it, to go ahead and make sure that you have an option on it, sell the option to someone else so they could bypass you to go ahead and make that purchase. You could do it with a free and clear. You could also do it with a lease to own. And that's another way that I tell people that they can make money very, very quickly. So let's go ahead and explain that. Now here's the really, really fun thing about this particular concept is you can go ahead, and then let me pull up the contract again so you can see it. It's a contract. Here we go. If you look, there is a section here where it talks about how much you're going to put down as consideration with this particular contract. And at this point, you could put it on there for $1. You can use that $1 consideration out of your IRA. Okay? Now listen to this. This is really great. This is fun stuff. For that $1 of consideration, You wholesale it to somebody else. I gave you the example of $1,500. That $1,500 comes back to your IRA. Get this, tax-free. You just made $1,499 of tax-free money. Where else in America, but America, can you do that? And the way that we do this is through a self-directed IRA, having consideration with a notice of contract or option, and then wholesaling it over to somebody else. It's a beautiful thing. And you could do it on anything. One of the techniques I teach is the sandwich lease option. This is a little bit complicated. I'm going to show you the simpler version, but I'm going to go through this just real quick. You find a potential seller. You go ahead and put an option on the property. You find a tenant buyer. You create a lease with the tenant buyer for slightly more than what you had offered to the seller. So then you give that to the title company so they can go ahead and do a lease option transaction. And every month, when they go ahead and pay their rent, a portion of that is going to come to you. And you're good until it sells. And the best thing about it is if you negotiate out a purchase price and you can get your tenant buyer, because they are generally probably in a bad credit situation, they'll go ahead and pay a little bit more. So then not only are you making money monthly, but then at the end of the transaction, you can make anywhere from 10 to as much as I've seen, $60,000 in certain circumstances. Now here in Ohio, that doesn't happen. Generally speaking, you're looking at probably $10,000 to $15,000. But that's not bad considering that you're making a monthly payment, and you're collecting a portion of that. So this is a little bit of a high-end explanation. I don't necessarily, unless you have a background in real estate, I don't necessarily jumping into sandwich lease options. There's a couple pitfalls you'd have to steer through, but that's something that I would have to talk to you about on a one-on-one basis. What I tell people when they first get into real estate is to go ahead and do a lease option assignment. This is truly an amazing thing. And once again, you can go ahead and start collecting with the same concept with consideration money on the option with your IRA to continually make tax-free money. I mean, ridiculous return on investment. We're talking anywhere from $500 to maybe $10,000. And I'll give you a testimonial to prove it to you. But this is pretty easy to follow. What you do is you find a seller. And a seller doesn't necessarily have to be a seller. It could actually be someone that's trying to rent a property. And I'll go through that scenario here in a second. So you have somebody that wants to sell their property. You approach them. You let them know, hey, would you be willing to sell your property on terms? The terms are that this person needs, a year to 2 years to go ahead and write their credit to go ahead and make the purchase. In exchange, they're going to give you 5 to 10% down. You're going to collect rent, which is going to be at or above fair market rent. And as an additional bonus, Mr. Seller, he's going to be willing to pay at top dollar. Top dollar that fair market value will provide. Obviously, this person has to get a loan, so you can't exceed fair market value, but you definitely can get the top. Fair market value in our area literally can swing $20,000 north or south of a perceived fair market value. And of course, I will show that to you also in an example. But very simply stated, you're going to go ahead and put an option on that property. You're going to find the tenant buyer, collect that down payment. Of course, usually with my students, I mean, I tell them not to be greedy. They collect half of the down payment, and then they step out of the transaction and just connect the seller to the tenant buyer. So this particular graphic shows that exact example. And I'll show you a way to go ahead and just do this very easily on your own. So let's go ahead and I'll show you this. Let me show you a couple quick examples here. Here we go. Here's an example of one of my students. And you can see the date. It was 8 days ago. I just got a testimonial. It says, oh, Derek, we used this information you sent us, and we used it on our first lease option and made $6,500. They had to split the down payment with the seller, and that's what I said. I think that's only fair. But in doing so, in doing the marketing, they actually found 15 more people that are looking for homes. So all they have to do is connect these tenant buyers that have anywhere from $6,500 to probably $16,000. Go ahead and link them up with people that want and are willing to go ahead and sell those homes. So you're probably asking, wow, this is crazy. Well, it is. I'll show you how easy it is. So let's go ahead and get on the internet here. All right, can you see it? Okay, so we talked about real quick, so I can get my train of thought back. We're talking about lease options utilizing the option contract. So we talked about the basics of how the parameters work within the contract. So let's talk about how easy it is to find. So inside Craigslist, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but there's a housing section. So let's go ahead and click on housing. Let's go ahead and look at, actually this is kind of fun too. Let's go to real estate wanted. Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, these are people that are just screaming, help me. So this was somebody looking in South Hills, Cleveland, a rental one. So with that particular person, I would give them a call, and I would say, hey, I see your situation. If I could give you a call, would you be interested in purchasing? They may or may not, you know. But very often, the reason why people are looking is because they're having trouble. So if you could solve their solution, then you're great. So there it is right there. Will consider rent to own. This is money all the way. So right now, you've got a potential lease option buyer. Okay, so now the next thing is, let's go ahead and find that person a place to live. So go back to all housing. We'll go to the best ones to go to, in my opinion. I mean, you could go to real estate by owner and try to approach them with, you know, hey, look, I've got a buyer that needs time to correct their credit. Would you be interested in letting them do that in order to get top value? And you can see these are not the brokers. These are all just regular people. So as long as you can go ahead and articulate that and show them the benefits, you definitely have an opportunity to do this. Now, truth be told, they're a tougher sell because they're just looking to go ahead and cash out and move on. But the real gold mine is over in the rentals. Look at that. Here it is. Apartments and housing for rent. These are the best. So you would then call, and I'm just, that area, let's say, is close to, here we go. Here, let's just use this one. This one's in Cleveland. I would call them because that's close to the area that they wanted, and I would call this particular, or in this, I don't have a number, but I would email them and let them know that I have a potential renter for their property. And I would also let them know that, you know, or ask them, hey, would you consider allowing that renter to buy the property in, say, 2 to 3 years? Now, on the other side of things, they're probably used to people not performing. So there's a good chance they're going to say, sure, because they're under the impression that they're not going to perform. But here's the kicker. If you're going to put 5 to 10% down, you're pretty much vested. I don't know about you, but if I put 5 to 10% down, I'm definitely going to follow through because that's a lot of money. So at this point, we've just made a potential match. And then we've just been on the phone, or actually we've just been looking at this for approximately 3 minutes. And that's a potential for someone to go ahead and make money through the option contract. Beautiful thing. We decided to go ahead and buy because our intent was to go ahead and fix and flip. The inside did have a little bit of work that needed to be done. I mean, nothing major. As you can see, it's a pretty nice place. There you go. Maybe a pool needs to get rid of. Yeah, somebody bumped into the garage. Yeah, nothing major. It's definitely all cosmetic. So what we decided to do is we were sending out our handyman to go ahead and start the cleanup. So we started the cleanup process. And what's standard and what we do is we throw a for sale by owner inside the yard. Well, magically, because the sign was out there, people start calling in. So we fielded, I'd have to say 6 to 7 calls. Some people, I mean, obviously are just afraid that's not going to happen. However, we did get someone that was serious. So we made this purchase for, right here, here's proof positive. There it is, the house on Sunset Township. It is recent, so we're talking, we made the purchase here back on May 8th. Made that purchase for $77,750 to the sign in the yard. At that point, we now have a contract for, come on, contract. There we go. There it is. We have a contract for $90,500. That's not bad. That's wholesale. We made the quick purchase. We found somebody that's going to go ahead and we left enough meat on the bone so they can go ahead and do the repairs. This is actually somebody that's going to live there. That house probably is worth somewhere in the ballpark of about, I don't know, 115, 130, depending on what they put into it. So yeah, we probably could have made a little bit more money, but the turn and burn methodology, you can see that we made a decent amount of money. Let's move on. That same methodology can definitely be used with your IRA just by sending out offers. Send out offers to free and clears. Send out offers on probate property. Send out offers on short sales, bank-owned properties. Get the good deal and then wholesale it over to somebody else. We didn't even do anything to this house, and now we're going to sell it to somebody else. You could do the same thing. So once again, by using your self-directed IRA, you're going to be able to make all of that profit. Everyone, I just want to scream it, tax-free. Fantastic stuff. So the last portion is, in case I run into people that have almost nothing. They're very, very leery about doing anything. So what I suggest is that they go ahead and just do some marketing. Some people don't want to risk money, and I understand that totally. I mean, when I first got into business, I was a bird dog. And that's not a derogatory term. What that is basically a marketing person that goes ahead and finds the deals in their raw state and gives it over to another professional to go ahead and follow through. So what I would do, and I started off with short sales, but you could do it to any list, is I went ahead and I marketed from the notice of default. I found somebody that was willing to go ahead and do a short sale. So what I then did is I gave it to other investors, I gave it to other realtors, and I would collect anywhere from $200 down and 10% on the back to $500 straight right off the top. So if you want to go ahead and orchestrate that through an option because you want to hold your position there so you don't get circumvented, absolutely. Once again, $1 consideration, release that option, dump it right back into your IRA. It's a good thing. Once in a while, because I have an answer for everything, that's for somebody that wants to do a short sale. When I was marketing for those notice of default, I also found that people wanted to save their house. So what would be the best way to go ahead and help someone save their house? The answer is connect them with a lawyer. So I did the same thing. I went ahead and created an independent contract agreement to, if I found a potential person that wanted to do a loan modification, I could go ahead and refer that over to, I had about 5 or 6 different lawyers across Northeast Ohio, depending on the location, that would go ahead and do loan modifications. I had the same deal, which was $500 per deal. And I would give them an invoice for a marketing fee, and then I would get paid. So there's many ways to make money in this business with your level of risk being, whatever you want. So if you want no risk whatsoever, get into marketing and just use your expertise and your passion to go ahead and wholesale that deal over to somebody for a referral fee. If you have, I guess, a passion, or if you like to go ahead and solve problems, I think the best one is to go ahead and do the lease options. You do the sandwich lease option, You do lease option assignment. All of these things can be done in your IRA. And then if you have a higher tolerance, which, there's risk in everything we do, but you could be a hard money lender. My students do these kind of deals all the time. They do the fix and flip. So if you wanted to utilize your IRA to go ahead and spend $40, $50, $60, $100, $200,000 and get a solid return, I have people that I have personally trained that will put skin in the game in order to make sure that you get the return that you want. So if we use your money to go ahead and fix and flip, use your IRA, have a secured position in the property, and then get a nice, fat, solid return, something that you can't get in today's market. So right now, I know it's a nice day outside. I've probably been going for about a half hour. In all of these techniques, I could probably talk for at least another 3 months straight. But obviously, like I said, it's a nice day. So I want to go ahead and open this up to any questions. But I just want to go ahead and just recap one more time. I'm Derek Walkish, True Life 360. If you want the 100 ways, call into the iPlanGroup or email at invest@iPlanGroup.com, or you can call 440-484-5566. If you want more information about coaching, you can go to True Life 360. You can download our Naked Marketing. There it is, our ebook on Naked Real Estate. You could follow us on YouTube and get some more free information every Saturday from our Saturday strategies. And we would be very, 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 very glad to help you. So I don't know if Derek's on the line, but that's it in a nutshell without getting too detailed. I don't know if there's any questions or if you wanted to throw anything in.
Yep, so just hop right back over here. Just want to say thank you for hopping on the call today. I know I get excited just hearing about all of these things because I'm a young man myself and trying to get into investing as soon as I can. So it's always great to hear, what we can do to get started right off the bat. So again, we want to thank everybody for hopping on the call with us. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them on over, and I'll go ahead and ask and relay them on over to Derek. But like he did say, you can visit more information about True Life 360. You can see their website right on the image on the screen right now. It is truelife360.com. If you haven't done so already and would like to schedule a strategy session with one of iPlanGroup's IRA strategists, you can do so at signup.iPlanGroup.com/strategy session. Or like he said, you can feel free to give us a call at 440-484-5566. And if you just reference that you want a copy of any of the materials that Derek went over today, we can gladly get that. We are also going to have this webinar recorded and posted on our website within the next couple of days. If anybody would like a copy sent to them via email, please, again, feel free to email invest@iPlanGroup.com. That goes straight over to me, and I'll make sure to get you a copy as soon as I can. So we'll want to go ahead and sit on the call here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them over at Derek. If not, we just want to say thanks again for joining us today and hope you can enjoy some of the beautiful weather this evening. So once again, we'll stick on for a few minutes. Alrighty, so I see a few people have been dropping off here, and we haven't gotten any questions in. So looks like we had a quiet group today, but we did get a lot of thank yous on there. So I'm glad that everybody was interested in the information. We'll be doing this pretty much every Thursday at the same time, and we're going to get as many different people as we can that are doing creative things with their self-directed IRA so that we can give you guys some great ideas and strategies for going forward. So once again, thank you for everybody who hopped on the call today. Thank you to Derek Walkish for joining us as well. Again, I'll have this available for anybody who wants it on the website in a few days. If you would like a copy sent to your email, please feel free to email invest@iPlanGroup.com, and we will get one over to you as soon as we can.